Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee, and this is Randy, and we're here as always at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center on Rosemont Avenue. And every week we like to bring you some adoptable animals from the shelter, and of course we can't show you all of them, but we try to bring you a variety. And our first guest today is quite a beauty. This is Addison, and Addison is a Birman cat, and that is spelled B-I-R-M-A-N, and has to do with where they originated. They are very similar to Siamese cats, except that they have long hair. Beautiful blue eyes, as you can plainly see on Addison. And as you all know by now, we color code our cats blue, green, and orange, and green are the more active, independent cats, and that is Addison's profile. Now, does that mean that he won't be snuggly in your home? No, of course it does not. It means that if you're looking for a cat that wants to sit on your lap and watch movies, then Addison might not be it. But if you are looking for an independent-minded, beautiful animal to share your space and hang out at home while you're at work, then Addison might be the one for you. He is about 11 years old, so that's going to definitely stand in the way for some people who want to have a cat for the whole 15 to 18 years that they might live. But as we all know, you don't get any guarantee of lifespan in any circumstance. And if it is the case that you're looking to have a pet for maybe the next 2 or 3 years, then certainly Addison's going to be more suited. And we all think that we would keep our pets no matter what, and hope that we do. But I will tell you that there are circumstances you can't imagine that we hear of at our intake desk that make it more likely that making a 15-year commitment to a pet is a little bit complicated. You can't possibly know where you're going to be in 15 years or what your resources will be. So that can be the appeal of a senior cat like Addison. Our next guests are going to be sisters. Lucy and Daisy are 6-year-old spayed females who came from the same home. They do not need to be adopted together, but sometimes people are interested in taking 2 cats and they want to know that they get along, so this would be one option. They're both black and white and have experience in a home, and a lot of times when people are trying to decide which cat to get, they're faced with, should I get a previously owned cat who might have been given up for a reason, or should I get a stray cat that has some unknown history and might not be litter trained? But that is just a very limited view of what we offer you, because we make sure that the cats we have on the adoption floor are litter trained, can be handled by people, and we take care of a lot of their medical needs before you ever meet them. So if you're worried about getting a stray, we take those worries away. The second thing is if you're worried about taking a secondhand cat, then consider that we get a whole profile from the owner. Games they like to play, things they might be afraid of, medical care they've already had, and whether they like other cats, dogs, whether they're used to kids. So I think getting either a stray or previously owned pet from the shelter is a great deal, not only financially, which of course it is because spay, neuter, and shots and things are taken care of, but also because of the information that we collect for you, so you can make a good decision about which cat will be a good match for you. Next guest is Lucy's sister, Daisy. Daisy's also 6 because they are actual litter sisters. Daisy is beautiful black and white short-haired cat as well, also a spayed female, and also with family experience. One of the things about cats that come into the shelter that have lived in a family for their whole life is their first idea when they come to the shelter may be that they're at the veterinarian's or the boarding kennel. So if cats have experience with that, going to the vets or staying in a kennel, then they easily adapt to being at the shelter. If they don't have experience with that, you can imagine it's pretty new for them to be in a place with a lot of strange cats and a lot of strange people. And this little girl is showing her shyness. She's not so sure about being on camera. I'm sure she has an agent somewhere that said, wait, we didn't sign anything. So she is letting everyone know her feelings about being in a strange place. And we do color code the kitty. Oh, sweetie wants to hide. We do color code the cats so that you can tell when you approach their cage what they're like when they're examined by our technicians and handled by volunteers. And some cats we even put on their cage a note that will say approved volunteers only. And that includes Randy, as you can see, so that they can, oh, sweetie, spin so they can see that, her hiding her face, because that's really sweet. So I don't know if you can tell, but she's holding her toes tight. She's a little scared. So, and she doesn't want to see. So we have approved volunteers that are used to handling cats that are scared and nervous, like Randy. Not scared and nervous like Randy, but approved volunteers like Randy, to make it as easy for them as we can. But one of the things that we want to do with the TV show is to show the full range of their behavior so that you can find an animal either that is a great match for your lifestyle, or perhaps one that tugs at your heartstrings and makes you feel that you would be the person that can help her with her transition into the next stage of her life. It is all of the animal care technicians' job here to make sure that the cats and dogs get adjusted as quickly as possible. But certainly there's only so much that we can do to convince them that there's going to be a new home in the future. There's no way to really tell them that what they are holding out for is something a lot better than here. And for our strays who have been out in the weather, maybe chased by dogs, maybe had incidents with people that didn't want them around, the shelter can be very reassuring because it's safe and it's like room service here, and they have their own bed and their own litter pan and they're brought things to play with. But for cats that lived in a home their whole life, like Lucy and Daisy, they have a lot of questions about what this means and what the future holds. So if you can find it in your heart to take them into your home, which is what they really want, then come on down and meet them and see if they're a good match for you. And I will explain Daisy's behavior there was someone came in the front door and she heard it slam. So she doesn't know if that person is going to come in here or if she's going to be safe. So obviously she feels safe in the crook of Randy's arm. So we're going to let her go back to her hammock and her cage and see that some changes are only temporary and that everything will be okay again. Our last feline guest is Ike. And Ike, as everyone who watches knows by now, is my favorite kind of cat. This is a big black male cat who is super friendly, who Randy said when he went to his cage, stuck his tail straight up, shook it a little bit. That's a great greeting from a cat. He's big, just my absolute favorite kind of cat. I always have one because research shows that black male cats are the least likely to jump from the arms of a stranger. So obviously every cat is an individual and they all, you know, you have to get to know them and see what they have to offer. But he is just gorgeous. He looks like a panther. And he is, Randy said he's shaking a little bit, so he might be excited about being in here. He might be have a little trepidation about coming and meeting some strangers. But because of his initial greeting, I suspect that he just likes everyone as being smart, checking things out. If you have been thinking about adopting a cat, then I recommend that even if you're not ready, come to the shelter, talk to us about what's involved. We have handouts that we give people about how much it costs to have a pet, some information about pet insurance if that's something that you've thought about. We have obviously all of the cats that you get from us will be spayed and neutered before you adopt, but if you were thinking about taking in a stray kitten that you found, we have a list of programs for low cost and even no cost spaying and neutering. We can tell you about rabies clinics. that is a low-cost opportunity for you to go to a local business and get a rabies shot, which is required by law for your cat. And then you can buy a license. We have information about microchip clinics. What I guess I'm trying to convey is that the animal shelter is a great resource for all things animal, not just adoptions. If you have a pet with some behavior problem or some training issue that you want to solve, we can refer you to experts that can help you handle that. And if you have been thinking about rehoming a pet, another reason to give us a call, because we can give you advice about that. It's what we do. We know how to do it well. So if you think that Ike would make a good match for you or someone that you know, then as always, I encourage you to share his picture on social networking, to wait until the end of the program and take a link for this episode of Pet Pals and share that on your social networking, or you can go to Pet Finder, print out his profile and post it anywhere that you're allowed to, at work or a community bulletin board. All of these things help us. You can check out our Facebook page, where Randy monitors pretty regularly, and he puts up every Thursday a flyer you can print out of adoptable pets for the week, and copies of this episode of Pet Pals and past ones if you're trying to look up an animal you saw last time. So these are all ways that you help us branch out. And if you do check out our Facebook page, ask your friends to like it. We're trying to reach a goal of 3,000. So we're going to take a little break, and we're going to be back with some adoptable dogs at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. So I hope you join us.
The Frederick Board of County Commissioners announces a new service for county residents and those interested in watching live broadcasts and archived videos of county meetings and special programs. In addition to watching county meetings online from a personal computer, viewers may now tune in from the convenience of an iPhone, iPad, or other mobile device, including some Android smartphones. We're taking government to a higher level of technology in offering this new service, and we look forward to hearing good feedback from our citizens. Simply visit www.frederickcounty.gov/FCG-TV and click on the link that says Watch FCG-TV Live.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. We are now going to bring you some adoptable canines, and I cannot tell you why this little guy has to be on TV. A lot of animals come into the shelter and they are, dogs especially, are adopted within 2 or 3 days, and we only do the TV show once a week, so you never get to see them on TV. So if you are looking, I definitely recommend you take advantage of our wish list, or you come by the shelter as often as you can so that you don't miss out on little guys like this. But this little dog, Ren, came to us as a stray, and we are going to get his teeth fixed up. He only has a few left, and get him neutered, but he's 10, at least 10. So I am not at all sure how his owner got separated from him. So if you've heard of anyone looking for their little dog, surely they know that the animal shelter is here, but if not, it's been well over 5 days that he's been here. We can't find his owner, but we would love to do so if possible. But if we can't, then this little guy needs a second chance. Now, because he's 10 years old and he's a tiny dog, he's like a 60-year-old person. So you can ask Randy and I if 60-year-old persons still have a lot left to give, and you would get a resounding absolutely. So don't let that worry you that he is like a 60-year-old person, because that means that he has tons of experience with people. He knows a lot about the world. And if you can imagine a tiny dog like this being stray and surviving, I'd say he's pretty smart. So what I think that Ren would like in the world is somebody to pretty much carry him around all the time. One of the issues here in the shelter is that he was probably trained to puppy pads, so he definitely needs to be trained to go outside. There's no reason he can't. Some people don't like to do that if they live in an apartment and they don't have an easy way to get up and down the stairs. So certainly he's already ready for that. But I always think it's a good idea to teach dogs to have the preference to go to the bathroom on grass. It makes everything easier for you. And the dog certainly benefits from getting outside in the fresh air. I will imagine that during this last winter, a tiny dog like this was not interested in jumping into 2 feet of snow. These little dogs often need you to dig a little path for them so they can go outside. But since you have to dig a path for yourself, you might as well dig one for your dog as well. So if you know somebody that is looking for a little dog like Ren, then please let us know. Send them on over to meet him for, yes, he's the cutest dog. If you see him in the cage when you approach him, he is a bundle of excitement and wags. Once you have him in your hands, of course, he just nestles right in. So I think he's lovely, and he's going to make somebody very happy. We just need to find the right person, and I believe it's his age, but for whatever reason, he just hasn't been chosen yet. Our next guest is Duchess. And Duchess is what I would say is everything that American Pit Bull Terriers are supposed to be. You can see her tail wag, her medium energy level. She can be playful if you want to and chase a ball and get excited, but she's also mellow enough to lie by your feet by the fire. What people often hear about American Pit Bull Terriers or American Bulldogs or American Staffordshire Terriers or Staffordshire Bull Terriers, all dogs that are frequently mistakenly referred to as pit bulls, is that they're somehow different from other dogs, and it's just not true. They're like every kind of dog. Some are very active, some are very mellow, and some are right in the middle, like Duchess. And since Duchess is about 5 years old, she has the perfect amount of pet experience with other animals and with kids. And the reason she came to the shelter is because her owner passed away. And some family members of her owner took her into their house for a week and thought maybe they could find her a home. But it can be scary to try to place a pit bull or pit bull mix in a new home, because some families that are looking for a dog want to shy away from this breed, and that's the home you would like to see her get. And then some people who want a dog because they think it'll make them seem tougher want dogs like this, and that's not necessarily all that you want for her. You want her to have everything a dog should have, which is someone who's going to make sure she keeps up with her basics, walking on leash, which she's good at, and sitting when you ask her to, and taking food gently, all things that she does, that she's able to ride around in the car when it's safe to do so and the weather is right for that, and see the world with you. She is a lovely little girl, and she has a lot to offer. As you can see, good training and background, and through no fault of her own has lost her home because someone passed away. And when you have a pet, something you want to think about is who you might leave your pet with in the event of an emergency, and it doesn't have to be the ultimate emergency of tragic loss of life, but it could be if you had to be in the hospital and have surgery, or if you had to travel for work. Do you have someone who you can count on to take care of your dog if you can't for some reason? And that they understand what's involved in that, because clearly Duchess's owner had a wonderful family member who was willing to step up and take her in, but they didn't realize how hard it might be to find her a second home. So they have passed her off to the experts so that we can do that for her.
Did you get a discount?
Oh, because she's 5, yeah. If all dogs that are over 5 years old, like Duchess, do get a lowered adoption fee. So that can appeal to you if you want to take that extra $20 and spend it on some toys for her. Our next guest is Badger, and Badger is a beautiful mixed terrier, looking for treats that Randy gave him. And he came to us as a stray, so his name isn't really Badger, but we're working on that. He is about 5 months old. He's pretty young, and beautiful color. I don't know if you can see, he has all this light colored underneath, and his fur is really soft. You might think it would be bristly because it looks wiry, but he's so interested in the treats that you can't see his face. So, something on the carpet. So we are looking for a home for Badger, and we are willing to take up to 4 applications to find the right match because he's under a year old. And as you can see, he doesn't have a high energy level. He's not a hyper puppy or a distractible puppy. He's gonna, I think, make somebody a really great pet. And the nice thing about this type of coat, even though it's a little longer, is it's really a low shedding type of coat, the more wire coat or curly coat, because, yeah, they still have to shed, as all dogs do, but because of the type of hair they have, the hair tends to stay on the dog so that you can brush it off at your convenience, rather than dogs with short, straight hair where it tends to fall out at will, and then you just have to keep up with that. He does. What do you want to do? He has beautiful white feet, and there's the puppy in Badger. So because he came to us as a stray, it is, there's something on the carpet that he's very interested in. Since he came to us as a stray, we don't know a lot about how he's grown up, but because he's so young, it doesn't really matter. He can really learn anything that you want to show him, and he probably is, as a stray, gets a lot of information from his nose. So I'm sure he's finding out every dog that's been in here this morning and everything that's happened in this room since the last time we mopped.
Daisy could have been in.
So if you are interested in a medium-sized dog who's young, then Badger might be the right match for you.
Hey, come here.
The other thing that you might want to consider is getting on our wish list, because if there is a certain breed of dog that you want, we'll keep an eye out for you. As I tell everyone who feels badly when they come into the shelter, and like today we have 15 adoptable dogs. So you come into the shelter and the 2 dogs that you're most attracted to are already taken, and the other dogs in the shelter that have issues that don't match for you, you feel bad about not taking them. No reason to feel bad. Dogs are not interchangeable. The dog that's right for you is not going to be right for other people, and we absolutely don't want you to come to the shelter and settle for one of the adoptable dogs when we get new animals every day. The dog that is perfect for you, that's the right age, that's the right personality, is probably going to come to us within a 6-month period. We just encourage you to be willing to wait. Now, certainly, you can find a dog today by going on Craigslist and taking your chances. One of the things I will caution you with looking on Craigslist is that when you can verify that the dog is owned by the person who's offering him, then you're golden. If that person's going to be upfront with his vet records and share with you the reason that they're giving up the dog, and if he's a good match for you, then that can be a wonderful way to find a pet and keep a pet from having to come to the shelter. However, because we only have 15 adoptable dogs in the shelter today, and there are probably 30 to 50 families that are willing to adopt today, that means that there's a market now for secondhand dogs. So there are people, granted, not a lot of people, but there are people willing to steal and resell a dog or acquire a dog from a free to good home ad and then flip the dog by offering the dog for money. So just be careful. If you're getting a secondhand dog, make sure that you ask for some references and that you actually check out those references. If you go to a rescue and they want to have a contract with you about bringing the dog back if it doesn't work out and they want to do a home visit, that is great. That means that it's a rescue that probably has been in business for some time and has experience understanding that they have to be careful about where they place their dogs. But if you get involved with a group or individual who says they're rescuing dogs, but they charge a very high fee and then don't have the paperwork to back up the medical care, just be careful, because there have been some incidences of people finding their own lost dogs offered for sale on Craigslist from someone posing to be the owner. So it's not common, but it is definitely something you want to look out for, and something that you should be aware of if you're in the market for a dog and willing to take a secondhand dog. Our next guest is Bandit, and Bandit is half Maltese. And a lot of times these dogs are labeled what's known as designer dogs, which is kind of a fad because there's nothing designer about a dog that's half Maltese. It's a mixed breed like any other dog. But due to good marketing, these dogs that are half breeds of two tiny dogs have all kinds of cute names like Multi-Poo, and that for some reason has won over the world of puppy shoppers into thinking that they're getting something special. So much so that these puppies can be sold in pet stores for over $1,000. So to people who are in animal rescue, it's a little bit silly because every dog is probably going to cost you the same amount to care for over his lifetime. Certainly, you want to get a dog that appeals to you in appearance and personality because that's part of the bonding process. But there's absolutely no reason to pay a premium price for a mixed breed puppy that is going to be just as much work as any other puppy would be. Obviously, if you are interested in a purebred dog and want to go to a reputable breeder and get a dog that's personality is influenced specifically for placement in your home, by all means do so. There are people who compete in tracking and obedience work and lure coursing who know that they want a dog with really special skills. The problem for breeders is that you can take two lure coursing Borzoi, say, breed them together, and they'll have 11 puppies, and 3 of their puppies will inherit the wonderful talents of their parents, and the others won't. So it is very hard to predict which ones those will be, and breeders are there to help you do so. When you have a special need for a dog that can do special work, by all means, go to the experts. But if what you want is cute, then animal shelters and rescues can help you out because we certainly have cuteness for sale. We do go through the same process for all of our dogs, no matter what their perception of their breed is, and that is we take applications and talk to you about your match with the particular dog or cat that you've chosen, and we'll sit down and talk with you about house training and crate training and leash walking and all kinds of things that will help make the transition of a new dog into your home as easy as we possibly can. Our next guest is Hannah, and as you can probably guess, Hannah is part Border Collie. She is between 7 and 9 months old, and her brother, Rush, is also here, and he already has an application. Rush went with us to the radio show, and he was good in the car. He looked forward to meeting all the new people, and one of the things that is delaying Hannah from getting adopted is this is the first time in her life that she's been away from Rush. They've been together since they were born, and the family that adopted them realized a little far into their adoption that adopting 2 puppies at the same time is almost destined to fail. Now, for all of those of you out there who said, we did it, we didn't have any problem, wonderful, that's great, some people can do it. I consider myself an expert dog handler, and I would never adopt 2 puppies from the same litter to take home because they develop a secret twin language with each other. They don't really need you to have fun, and so they can be a challenge to train. Besides the fact that house training 2 puppies at the same time is pretty physically difficult because one squats to pee and you grab that one to take him outside, and then you don't have the other one with you, and whatever he does in the house you're not watching. So it can be really complicated to raise 2 puppies at once. Now obviously if you have the help it might work out, but Hannah and Rush are going to now be adopted into separate homes, and if the adopters wish to keep in touch and let them visit each other and have play dates, that'd be wonderful. You don't have to, but they are ready to have their own lives and become bonded with a family that's going to be theirs alone. So if you are interested in adopting a puppy, as you can see, Hannah's not overactive and she's very gentle. She's going to be a great dog. Then please come down and meet her. We're going to take 4 applications and find the best match. So if you have seen a match for you or someone that you know on today's show, please share this episode with Pet Pals with anyone you know on social networking or through email, and help us find homes for all of these guys. As always, I'm so glad that you joined us on this episode. I hope we see you again. Maybe we'll see you at the shelter, and you can find Randy on Facebook. We'll see you next time on Pet Pals.